there's a CVS on 410, you know. 410 and Blanco. It's a Target, but the inside the Target there's a CVS.
Yeah.
First I thought I was in the wrong place. I didn't realize CVS was inside
You
Target.
bring it, you brought your card, and
Your card, your ID, yeah, they wrote it.
they wrote it on your card for.
Better make sure. If not, I'll get a fourth one.
Well, they tried.
How are you, Mr. Cameron?
Good. Got my keep in the car.
Oh.
Yeah. In the box over here.
How you guys doing?
I'm telling you,
Doing good.
CVS was.
We're talking about the number 3 vaccine. I got it yesterday.
The booster?
Yeah.
They were just downright rude to these.
They never asked me if I'm immunosuppressed or anything. And they have a whole bunch. They have a ton of it. They want to get rid of it. Try it today.
Which one? Pfizer or Moderna? Which one did you get?
Moderna.
Okay. Is that what you got the first time?
Yeah.
Do they ask that?
Yes. I went online a week ago, and there were some places offering Pfizer, and the only one with Moderna was CVS. So I went there, and all the slots were booked except this Sunday. That was a week ago.
Did they say, so if you started with Moderna, do you have to get Moderna again?
You're supposed to.
They recommended it, but you're supposed to. At the beginning, they said it doesn't matter now, so you're supposed to stick with it. Because it's a follow-up, you know. Moderna is mRNA, but it's still a little bit different. The dose of Moderna is bigger than the Pfizer, you know?
Didn't know that.
Yeah, it is. Like 3 times more.
That's really?
No, not kidding. Well, it's not much, we're talking about milliliters, you know, but
Yeah.
still.
It's a lot.
I love my
Oh,
children.
sure. Thank you.
I know all this about you, I was reading today.
Uh-oh.
I can't miss you.
What?
I can't miss you with that yellow shirt.
Oh, yeah. We wore this when I was in Israel at the wall, and everybody climbed, a million people.
Maybe where you wore it.
You could spot it.
It's a good idea.
It is. Move the crowd.
Also, when you walk around your neighborhood,
See.
if you walk there. How are you doing, Jack?
I'm tired.
You're
I
in the
can't miss sleep.
Oh. You get older, you need less sleep. At one point, you don't need any sleep at all.
That's what it feels like with me, man. I'm with you on that.
But it's true, the older you get, you don't need as much sleep. You feel this way? Are you a good sleeper?
Yeah, I get pretty much regular hours. I think that's what helps.
Cameron probably sleeps 10 hours a day. No?
Actually, during the day,
During the day.
when I'm driving around, it's actually the best sleep you get.
I tried to sleep during the day and I was having trouble at night. But they said it's good to sleep during the day a little bit, a short time. How long do you sleep when you sleep during the day?
Oh, I'm joking. I work during the day. And on Shabbat, I always get a Shabbat nap. That's a good 2.5 hours. That's catch up time. I think I even fell asleep maybe for about 45 minutes yesterday.
Joel, I went online, the stuff that I talked to, they just walked in there's a rock actually. They fill the paper.
I'm telling you, they were so rude.
Where did you go?
I went to Thousand Oaks CVS,
Really?
and it's a 24-hour. And they had a clerk, and they called the pharmacist. He wouldn't even come to the front. He just yelled at me from the back.
You're kidding.
Yeah, because supposedly you can sign up in the store.
Right.
At the CVS, I told him that. He said, no, you have to go online, blah, blah,
That's
blah.
what this couple here in HEB, they just time the store. They fill the form.
I think it just varies with the pharmacist, quite honestly.
Today? Yes. Oh, okay. Well, I don't think so. No, I got
You're breaking the law. I don't know how Facebook lets you happen.
I have no idea how it happened. Every time I get a
Today's
call, I have to
today's the first day.
But you have one you use, right?
Today's the first day for kids.
You have a recent one, the other one, or
I use the one on my iPad.
And I would have been there at like 6:30 or something, and I would
When I
have
got that call,
probably.
oh, that's
They
right.
start.
because I noticed now
Kids
that
started
the last
well,
bill
every
was made.
year they change stuff. And it's usually about quarter to
Get
6.
there at 6:30?
No, I get there a little bit before 7. I got there before 7. And the first bus arrived at 7:15.
What is your other grandson?
My other, one's a 3-year-old and one's a
Yeah, it's
6-year-old.
really, same nursery?
No, he went back, he went back to the JCC.
Oh, you see
All right, we're going to get going.
Long line of cars.
I didn't go that way.
Boy, it was terrible. So I guess we started there.
The north side starts today, the northeast started last Monday.
So
Yeah.
what's the last word for the last?
They, north side, northeast, Elmore Heights, all passed. Yeah, and some of it mirrored because north side got lucky because they didn't start with kids till today. They did their school board meeting like in the middle of the week last week on the board voting. But they all had like 100, 150 people speaking. It took forever.
I watched it, not all of it. I went to eat dinner and came back because it was crazy.
No.
I don't know how you guys,
Other people had their-
I don't know how you all as principals went through some of the things that you must have gotten.
It still would be terrible today, I'm telling you.
Comments, just even some of the,
They're gonna show up and, you know, I saw a woman in the newspaper had on her shirt, "I will not comply." And you're gonna have that.
yeah, I'm sure there will be.
And
Well,
they have to decide now what they're gonna do with those kids that will
see
not.
ya. You know, they have to say see ya. I mean, what can you do?
Well, I think what they're gonna do is isolate them and try to give them a mask, they have masks.
Probably,
But
yeah.
if they won't put on a mask.
Yeah.
They're gonna isolate them and try to, I don't think you wanna suspend them from education. You can't do virtual learning.
No.
They're gonna try to
I know.
isolate.
The problem is for those of us who felt very passionate the other way, we are ready to pull our kids out of school. There's a bunch of us ready to pull our kids out of school for the same reason.
I don't think that, somebody has to decide it since the law.
Right.
What to do.
Right, exactly. Somebody has
They're
to.
gonna have them do
Sure, they have a plan.
weekly tests, make sure
But they're not gonna be in the classroom. They're not gonna be in the classroom.
No, they can't keep them in the classroom unless they have a
They're gonna have a.
medical reason. All right, we better get going because we're getting late. So we are going to be on page 6, yes, so we can debate after, which there's nothing, we're all agreeing, it's just what they're doing. So yes. So page 6, we rise. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lasefi bina להבחין בין יום ובין לילה. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shesani b'tzalmo. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shesani Yisrael. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shesani ben chorin. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam pokeach ivrim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam malbish arumim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam matir asurim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam zokef kefufim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam rokaretz al hamayim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shesali kol tzorki. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamechim et tzadei gaver. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam ozer Yisrael bigvura. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam oter Yisrael b'tifara. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hanoten la'yaev koach. May be seated. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Utneinu hayom v'chol yom l'cheinu chesed rachamim beinecha u'beinei chol reinu v'tigmelenu chasadim tovim baruch atah Adonai gomel chasadim tovim le'amo Yisrael. Page 7, Yehi ratzon v'fanecha Adonai Elohim shetatzilenu hayom v'chol yom ha'az. Ashreinu matocha kinu manayim gorleinu mayafa yerushatenu. Ashreinu shanachnu mashkimim umarivim erevav boker. V'yomrim b'mayim b'chol yom. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kavod Malchut Le'olam Va'ed. Atagu ad shelo nivra. Kadesh et shimcha makdishei shemecha v'kadesh et shimcha b'olamecha u'vishuatcha tarim v'tag b'yakarnenu Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh et shimcha barabim. We turn over to page 9, 10, and following, and there you'll find our selections for for rabbinic study. I think I got to the third selection, Yalkut Shimoni from Genesis, under truth, under emet on page 10. So the third selection down, the letters of the word truth, emet, rest on two legs. I love this. It's a play on what the letters look like themselves. Aleph, mem, tav. While the letters of the word falsehood, which the word is sheker, have only one leg, shin, kuf, resh. And they're looking at the lines, the long lines that represent literally what the legs are. Truthful actions stand firm. Actions based on falsehoods do not. The letters of emet are far apart, the first, middle, and last in the alphabet, whereas the letters of sheker are all bunched together. So if you know your alphabet, Aleph, Mem, Tav. Aleph, the beginning of the alphabet, Mem, the middle, Tav, the end. But sheker, Shin, Kuf, Resh are all bunched at the end of the alphabet. And those letters are being bunched together. The message becomes, truth is hard to attain, right? You've got a long journey to get there from beginning to middle to end. But falsehood is really easy, readily at hand. Only takes 3 letters, and it's not a big jump from each one to each one. So it's a very nice play on literally the letters of the words from the selection from Yalkut Shimoni, reminding us that really it's easy to lie, it's easy to have falsehoods, but truth takes work, and true emet takes work. But when it is there, it is really what the world stands upon, and so it is worth pursuing. So keep that in mind as we turn to page 12, the bottom of the page, the first selection at the bottom of the page under the line. Yehi ratzon milfanecha Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu shetitein chelkenu b'toratecha v'nihi emi talmidav shel Aharon hakohen ohev shalom v'rodev shalom ohev et habriot u'mekorban laTorah. We don't quite have a minyan, so we turn over to the last 2 lines on page 13. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim tovim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav hu berachamav ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. We turn over to page 14. There you'll find the 30th Psalm. Mizmor shir Chanukat habayit leDavid amramim kidalitani v'losemach to'evali. Leman yizamer chachavad v'lo yidom Adonai Elohai le'olam odeka. Page 15, you'll find the last 2 lines of the Mourner's Kaddish. We don't, again, have quite a minyan, but we can recite the last 2 lines, asking God for a sense of shalom, a sense of peace. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. We rise for Baruch She'amar on 16. Baruch She'amar v'haya ha'olam Baruch hu Baruch Oseh v'reshit Baruch Omer mi'oseh Baruch Ozerum kayem Baruch merachem al haaretz Baruch merachem al habriot Baruch meshalem sachar tov l'reyav Baruch alav v'kayam lanetzach Baruch Podeu Matzil, Baruch Shemo, Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Ha'el ha'varachman hamulal b'fi amo, Meshubachum far b'shem chasidav v'avadav, Uvshivrei David Avdecha, Ne'elelcha Adonai Eloheinu, Bishvachot v'izmerot, Negadelcha, Unshabecha, Unfa'ercha, V'naskir Shimcha, V'namlicha Malkeinu Eloheinu, Yachidchei ha'olamim, Melech Meshubach, Umfaradeh ad Shemo hagadol, Baruch Atah Adonai, Melech mehalal, Batishbachot. You may be seated. We're on 17. Hodu l'Adonai kiru bishmo, Hodi al-Mem. Ki kol Elohim Elilim Vadonai Shamayim Asa 18 Hod v'hadar lefanav Oz v'chedva bimkomo Havu l'Adonai mishpachot amim. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu v'ishtachavu l'hadam raglav kadoshu. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu v'ishtachavu l'har kodsho. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu. 19. V'hu rachum yilchaper avon v'lo yashchit v'yarbeh l'shiva pavut. Adonai tzavot asher adam boteach bach. Adonai hoshia hamelech yaninu v'yom koreinu. Shia et amecha v'arech et nachlatecha. Urei menasem ad olam haolam. Vahani b'chastecha batachti yagil libi b'shuatecha shir l'Adonai ki gamal alai. Page 20. Mizmor l'tada ri l'Adonai kol haaretz. Yivdu Adonai v'simcha bo l'fanav mirnana. Ki tov Adonai li'olam chastov yador vador emunato. We're in the middle of page 20. Yehi chavod Adonai li'olam yismach Adonai b'ma'asav Yehi shem Adonai mivarach me'etav yadolam Yimizrach shemesh ad mevo'o. V'hurachum yichaper avon v'lo yashchit v'hirba l'hashiva po v'lo yayir kol chamato Adonai hoshia hamelech yanenu v'yom koreinu Ashrei yoshvei veitecha od yelalu chasela Ashreiham shekachalo Ashreiham shadonai Elohav tihila leDavid Urmimcha l'hai l'melech Baruch hashimcha le'olam va'ed gadol. Adonai b'chol rachad v'tzil b'chol ma'asav karuna chukro. Hashmi tehilat Adonai daber pi v'varech habasar shem kodsho le'olam v'hed v'anach nevarech ya me'atav yad olam. Hallelujah, hallelujah, lali nafshi et Adonai halal Adonai v'chayai azamra Elohai be'odi al tiftechu b'vidim v'edim adam shem tishmo. Adonai shomer et kerim yatom yamana yoded v'derech rishayim yavet imloch Adonai le'olam Elohech tzion l'dor. Hallelujah. Page 23. Hallelujah. Ki tov zamra Eloheinu Ki na'im nava tehila bonei Yerushalayim. Shalach Yerushalayim et Adonai l'Adonai l'Tzion. Magid v'rav Yaakov hukav u'mishpatav Yisrael lo asachen l'chol goy mishpatim bal yida'um. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Et Adonai min hashamayim, hallelujah. B'amramim, hallelujah. Kol melachav, hallelujah. Kol tzvav. Vayarem keren le'amot tehila l'chol chasidav lifnei Yisrael amkerovo. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Shir l'Adonai shir chadash tehila kol b'chol chasidim. Le'esor melchechem b'zikim v'nikperechem b'chavlei varzel la'asot b'hem mishpat katuv hadarhu l'chol chasidav. Hallelujah. Middle of 25. Hallelujah, 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 b'kodsho. Hallelujah, hallelujah, birkia uzo. Hallelujah, 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 vig vurotav. Hallelujah, hallelujah, kirov good love. Hallelujah, 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 b'tei gashofar. Hallelujah, hallelujah, b'nevel v'chinor. Hallelujah, 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 b'tof umachol. Hallelujah, hallelujah, b'minim ve'ugav. Hallelujah, 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 b'tziel tzolei shama. Hallelujah, hallelujah, b'tziel tzolei teruah. Kol haneshama tehallel, hallelujah, hallelujah. Kol haneshama tehallel, hallelujah. Kol haneshama tehallel, hallelujah. Baruch Adonai le'olam, amen v'amen. Baruch Adonai b'tzion shechan Yerushalayim, hallelujah. Baruch Adonai Elohim Elohei Yisrael seniflo levado, u'baruch Shem kavado le'olam v'yim alei kavado et kol haaretz. Amen ve'amen. We rise, page 26. Vayivarech David et Adonai le'enei kol hakahal vayomer David. Baruch atah Adonai. Atahu Adonai Elohim asher bacharta v'Avram v'yotzeita me'or kastim v'samta shem Avraham u'matzato levavaho ne'eman lefanecha v'charot imot habrit latzeit et eretz haKna'ani hachiti ha'amori ha'persi ha'meruzi. V'hayam b'kata lifnehem v'ya'aru b'toch hayam v'yabasha v'yetrod fehem yishlach tabim tzolot kamo even v'mayim mazim. 27. V'yosh Adonai b'yom hahu et Yisra midad Mitzrayim Vayar Yisrael Mitzrayim meit al sfat hayam. Vayar Yisrael et hayad hagdola asher asa Adonai b'Mitzrayim. Vayiru ham et Adonai v'yaminu b'Adonai u'Moshe avdo. Az yashir Moshe u'bnei Yisrael et hashira hazot l'Adonai vayomru le'mor Ashira l'Adonai ki ga'oga sus v'rochva rahama vayam Ozi v'zimratya vayehi lishua Zeli v'yan vehu Elohei aviva romamenhu Adonai ish milchama Adonai shemo Markevot paro v'chelo Ayahara v'yam Umivchar shalishatu v'biyamsu. Mi chamocha v'elim Adonai mi kamocha nirabak kodesh narati l'rosei felen atiti nachiti v'chastecha mzuka altam. Mikdash Adonai Adonai Yadecha Adonai Yimloch Leolam Vahed Adonai Yimloch Leolam Vahed Ki l'Adonai Amlucha Moshe Bagoyim V'yalu Moshim B'hartzin Lishpotei Tarisav V'haita l'Adonai Amlucha V'haya Adonai L'melech Kol Haaretz Vayom hahu yeh Adonai echad u'shemo echad. We're on page 29. Yishtabach shimcha la'ad malkeinu ha'el ha'melech ha'gadol v'kadosh b'shamayim v'aretz ki l'chanai Adonai Elohim shir shvah V'rachot v'hodot me'atavi ad olam baruch atah Adonai Amelech gadol batishbachot el ha'hodaot Adon ha'niflaot Abocher b'shirei zimra Melech elchei ha'olamim. We don't quite have our minyan again. We turn over to page 30 as we join together in the bracha of creation. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam Yotzer or uvorei choshech, oseh shalom uvorei et hakol. You may be seated. Hame'i la'aretz b'darim aleha merachamim v'tvurim v'chadesh v'chol yom tamim v'asiv reshit. El baruch gedol deyach chinu fazarei chama tov yitzar chavod lishma. Titbarach Adonai Eloheinu al shevach ma'aseh yadecha v'yal me'orei orsha asita yifaruch asela. Page 31. Titbarach tzureinu malkeinu v'go aleinu barei kedoshim yishtabach shimcha le'ad malkeinu yotzer mishartav yasher mishartav kulam amdim. Kulam ahuvim kulam biburim kulam giborim v'chulam osim b'yema uv'yera retzon konam v'chulam podchim et pihem b'kedusha v'tahara b'shira v'zimram v'arachim v'shabachim v'farim v'maritzim v'makdishim v'mahamlichim et shem ha'el ha'melech ha'gadol ha'gibor b'hanara kadoshu V'chulam mekablim alehem ol malchut shamayim ze mizeh v'notnim reshut ze lazeh lehakdish liyosram v'nachar ruach v'safa v'ravinim ha'kedosha Kulam kecharonim v'yomrim b'yira. Kadosh, 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 Adonai Tzebaot, Melech kol haaretz kivodo. V'haofanim v'chayot HaKadosh bera'ash gadol, mitnasim l'matzarafim, l'matam meshabachim v'yomrim. Baruch kevod Adonai bimkomo, le'el baruch nimot shitzeinu, l'nochach v'kayam. Or chadash al Tzion Tayir v'nizkechu lana mehera le'oro baruch atah Adonai yotzer hameorot. We are on page 32. Ahava rabba avtanu Adonai Eloheinu chem gadol l'avot. Keinu b'avor avotenu shabbatchu v'chalat. V'harineinu b'toratecha v'dabek libeinu mitzvotecha. Third paragraph on the page on 32, we join together the four corners of the talit, bring together those tzitzit, a reminder of the mitzvot, as we join in the Hatikva melody, which is quite fitting as Hatikva represents redemption and of our people to the land of Israel. And certainly the mitzvot is what helps us to help redeem the world. Bottom of 32. V'havienu l'shalom me'arba kanfot haaretz v'tolichenu kamemiyut le'artzenu. Ki helpo el Yeshua tata, uvan uvacharta mikol havelashon, v'keraftanu l'shimcha gadol, sela be'emet, lehodot lecha, uyachecha v'yahava. Baruch atah Adonai, abocher b'yamo Yisrael be'ahava. Melech ne'eman, Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai echad. Baruch Shem kavod malchuta le'olam va'ed. Ve'yafta et Adonai Elohecha v'chol levavcha u'v'chol nafshecha u'v'chol me'odecha ve'hayu advarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom alevavecha V'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam v'shivtecha b'veitecha uv'lechtecha havaderech uv'shoch becha uv'kumecha uv'kshartam leot al yadecha v'hayu l'totafot bein einecha Uchtavtam al mezuzot beitecha uvisharecha v'hayam shamatir. We join together the top paragraph, the biblical injunction to wear the tzitzit, again our reminder of the mitzvot. Vayomer Adonai el Moshe lemor daber el bnei Yisrael v'amarta alehem v'yasu lahem tzitzit al kanfei v'digdehem ledorotam v'natnu al tzitzit Akanaf betil techelet v'haya lachem letzitzit Uritem oto, uschartem et kol mitzvot Adonai, vasitem otam, velo taturu, acharei levavchem, yacharei nechem, asher atem zonim achareihem, leman tizkiru, vasitem et kol mitzvotai, v'item kedoshim lelohechem, Ani Adonai Elohechem, asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim, liot lachem lelohim. Ani Adonai Elohechem, Adonai Elohechem, Amen. Oledor vador hu kayam ushmo kayam v'chisom nachon u'malchut tovim v'natalat kayamet rav chayim v'kayamim v'nemanim v'nefradim. Emet shatahu Adonai Eloheinu v'le'avotenu malkeinu melech avotenu go'aleinu go'el avotenu yotzreinu tzur yeshuatenu Podenu matzilenu me'elam shemecha in Elohim zulatecha Ezrat avotenu atahu me'olam Magenu Moshe lifnei mechol dor vador Barum olam Atahu adam Also chibachu ahuvim v'romimu el v'natnu Ram Vanisa Gandol Nora Mashpil Vino Mashpil Tsir Panamis Tehila Vel Elyon Baruchu Umavarach Moshe Bnei Yisrael Chanu Shira B'Simcha Rabba V'Yamru Chulam Michamocha Ba'elim Adonai Michamocha Nedar B'Kodesh No rati hilodo seifele Shira chadasha shibchu gilim l'shimchad al sfat hayam Yachad kulam hodo v'him lichu v'yamru Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed. We rise. Sur Yisrael, kuma b'ezrat Yisrael, ufdechinu mecha Yehuda v'Yisrael, go aleinu Adonai tzavot shemo kedosh Yisrael, baruch atah Adonai ga'al Yisrael. Yeah, we don't quite have a minyan, but we can begin the Amidah together. 36b, we'll finish it at the bottom. We skip 37. We skip the Kedusha and continue silently on 38. So we join together 36b. Adonai sifatai tiftach ufi yagi tehilatech. Adonai sifatai tiftach ufi yagi tehilatech. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Elohei Avotenu Elohei Abraham Elohei Yitzchak Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel Elohei Leah Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor V'Adorah El Elyon Gomel Chasadim Tovim V'Konei HaKol V'Zocher Chasdei Avot U'Mevi Goel Lifnei B'neihem L'man Shemo V'Yahava Melech Ozer U'Fokedu Moshiach Magen Baruch atah Adonai Magen Avraham U'Foked Sarah Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai Mechayem Eitim Atah Rav L'Hoshia Morid Hatal Mechalkel Chayim B'Chesed Mechayem Eitim B'Rachamim Rabim Somech Noflim V'Rofeh Cholim U'Matir Asurim U'Mekayem Emunato L'Shenei Afar Michamocha Baal Geburot U'Midom Elach Melech Meimit U'Machayev U'Matzmiach Yeshua V'Ne'eman Atah L'Hachayot Meitim Baruch Atah Adonai Mechayei HaMeitim Ata kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, ukdoshim b'chol yom yahalelucha selah. Baruch ata Adonai ha'el hakadosh. Page 38. Ata chanin hadam dam. Find Tachanun on page 59. Oz reinu leishenu al devar kavod shemecha v'hatzilenu v'chaper al chatotenu lema'an shemecha. We would normally be going into the Torah service if we had a minyan. However, we don't, but that doesn't mean we can't just talk a minute about Torah. and about the Torah reading for this week. This was it's a long Torah reading actually, and its flavor is very different than last week's. Last week's had a lot of civil laws, a lot of ethical and moral behaviors that we are to do in order to create a good society. This week is a little bit different of Ki Tavo. The beginning of it, which we would read, the very beginning part that we usually read on Mondays and Thursdays, has two liturgical declarations about what we do when we go into the land. So one of them being the first fruits ceremony, and the second one being the tithing. So you hear a lot, especially in Christian circles, about tithing. Well, the seeds of it are certainly in the Torah. And so the Israelites receive instructions on what they are to do each third year, actually, and what the farmers were to do to set aside some of their crops for the sake of tithing for the community. So it's an interesting, if you want to do a little bit of studying, it's an interesting kind of ceremony. But then the second part of the portion, the heart of the portion, again, it continues with ceremonies that people would be engaged in when they finally go into the land. Of course, we're getting ready to do that, so this is what most of these last few chapters of the book of Deuteronomy about. But Ki Tavo is most known for its blessings and curses. So we find in the middle heart of the portion the consequences of obedience and disobedience. There's a whole selection of cursed be he who does, cursed be the person who does, cursed be that person who does. And a lot of it has to do with ethical, moral teachings. Some of them are ethical or moral behavior, I should say. Someone who murders somebody who his fellow countrymen in secret and doesn't obviously tell anybody or admit to it, that person, shall be cursed. So there's a whole line of curses. The tradition is to say it in very, in not out loud, really loud, but to kind of, when you read it very faintly, because we certainly don't want to declare curses upon ourselves. But of course, it's countered with blessings. And there's a back and forth in the text. There's a section of curses, a section of blessings. Blessed be you who does. And then we get some more curses again towards the end. But of course, we always end any portion that we have with a positive message. And the conclusion of the entire portion of Ki Tavo is a reminder of the covenant that we share with God. And I think and a ratification, if you will, of that covenant again. So a reminder of how we connected to God through the covenant. So if you look at the section of the blessings and the curses, it really is a paradigm for us. When we behave in a certain way, when we strive for mitzvot, blessing really comes upon us. Even when we're in terrible times, even when things are difficult, we manage to get through them together, and that in and of itself is a blessing. Even when we feel curses, we feel like we're being cursed. No, if our behavior is such the way it needs to be, we will, if we do those mitzvot, we will feel the blessing of the community eventually again. We'll feel the blessing of God upon us. So it is an interesting paradigm for how we live our lives. We seek nothing but bad and nothing but curses, then we're going to feel those curses, and that's what our life is going to feel like. If we always are striving for the good and for the blessings in life and the behavior that brings blessings in life, then we will eventually see those blessings. It's a lovely message from our portion. Again, as a whole, a reminder of what it takes to be a nation and a community, because that's really what this is all about, as the people prepare to move into the land and truly form a people and a nation based in the land. So keep it in mind for this week as we continue to study Torah through the week and through Shabbat as well. We will see some of the middle section of the Torah portion as we read the triennial, the second third of the portion on Shabbat, and certainly on Mondays and Thursdays we study the very beginning. So we hit a good chunk of this portion in our study this year, and it is one that is worth looking at. So we're going to continue as we can go into our concluding part of our service on page 78. Ashrei Yoshrei Veitecha Od Yelalucha Selah Shrem Shekacha Lo Shrem Sharananav. Malchutcha Malchut Kol Olamim Umemshaltecha L'chodor B'Adam. פותח את ידיך, משביע לכל חי רצון, צדיק אדוני בכל דרכיו, מחזיר כל מעשיו. תהילת אדוני ידבר פי, ויברך כל בשר שם קודשו לעולם ועד, ואנחנו נברך יא מעתה ועד עולם. Hallelujah. Bottom of 79, למנצח מזמור לדוד. יענך אדוני. Kadosh, 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 and I tell it, Kadosh, ויבטחו בך ידי שמך, כי לא עזבת דרשך, אדוני, אדוני חפץ למען צדקו יגדיל תורה וידיר. We rise for Aleinu on page 83. Aleinu לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית. שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם. אנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. שאלת השמיים יעשה לארץ, כמו שביקרא בשמיים. כי המלכות שלך היא, ולא מעטים לך בכבוד, ככתוב בתורתך. אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ. ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו You are welcome to be seated if you wish. The last two lines of the Mourner's Kaddish we recite on 84. Yehei Shlama Rabba Min Shemaya V'chayim Aleinu V'al Kol Yisrael V'imru Amen. Oseh Shalom B'mromav Hu Ya'aseh Shalom Aleinu V'al Kol Yisrael V'imru Amen. May be seated if you wish. You'll find the psalm for Monday on page 86. Hayom Yom Sheni B'Shabbat Shebo Hayu Havim Omrihim B'Veit HaMikdash Shir Mizmor Livnei Korach Gadol Adonai Melal Meod. Ki zeh Elohim Eloheinu olam va'ed hu yinachagenu almut. We add our special psalm Psalm 27 for the High Holy Day season. You'll find it on page 92. 92. L'David Adonai Ori Yishi Mimi Ra Adonai Me'amri. About 7 lines down. Achal she'alti meit Adonai otav hakesh. Achal she'alti meit Adonai otav hakesh. Shivti beveit Adonai kol yemei chayai. Lachazot b'noam Adonai ulevaker b'hechalo. Lachazot b'noam Adonai ulevaker b'hechalo. Ki yitzbaneini b'suko yatayarim roshi shiro yazamra l'anai. L'hulehem anti l'rot b'tuv Adonai b'eretz chayim kaveh el Adonai chazak v'yametz libecha v'kaveh el Adonai. If you'll turn forward, you'll find Kadisha Tom on page 100. Unfortunately, nope, we need to go into the back of the Siddur for our alternative Mourner's Kaddish. So if you'll turn to the back cover of your Siddur, you'll find the alternative Mourner's Kaddish. As we recite today, we keep in our thoughts Frida Harris Sader, Annie Jacobs, Bob Karlbach, and Dr. Melvin Mackler. Elsa, what's the name of your father? What's the name of your father? He's not on my list. Okay. We keep him in our thoughts today too, as you observe your site for him. The back cover of your Siddur, we read together. Ribono shel olam, Elohei haruchot l'chol basar, Master of the world, God of the spirit of all flesh, it is revealed and known before you that it is our fervent desire to praise your name and to remember and honor our beloved by reciting the Mourner's Kaddish in the company of a minyan. May our presence here today with our community find favor in your eyes and be accepted and received before you as if we had prayed the Kaddish. May your name, Adonai, be elevated and sanctified everywhere on earth, and may peace reign everywhere. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed. Praise be the name of the one whose glorious sovereignty is forever and ever. Oseh Shalom Bimromav, Hu Ya'aseh Shalom, Aleinu V'al Kol Yisrael V'imru. Amen. Also, may your father's memory be a blessing to you, and may it be an inspiration as you move forward. We pause to blow the shofar. Let's see if I can do it today. Boker Tov. Everybody have a great morning. Thank you for being here. And as always, if you have a yard site, let us know. We can send out, gather a couple people extra if you can, and we can certainly send out a note just to let people know if they can come. They'll make an extra effort so we can make sure we get coverage.
Tomorrow she can still
Well,
do it.
no, not if it's for today. If it's last night, yeah. But I think
What's the
it's,
yard site?
it's a yard site. But, I'm sure that he knew, he felt your presence, and God knows we're here as well, I like to say.
Thank you.
Pleasure. Thank you for being here.
You woke me up with a shofar.
Good, that was the idea. That's what it's supposed to do. Spiritually, anyway.
blower doesn't make much noise, but it sure does.
No, that's what I like. It's always been a good one for me.
As long as it fits your lips.
Yeah.
Beach here.
Is the big one louder or?
No, well, the one I have is bigger, has a deeper, like a nicer tone.
I guess it depends how you blow.
Yeah, it certainly depends on how you blow it. This one doesn't seem to have a very deep tone, the small one, it's more of a high pitch, higher pitch. I don't know, chauffeur, if Tanner does, you can ask him a little more, but yeah, the long one, I don't know about that one, I've never blown that one, but the longer one I have, Jonah blows, and I can't blow it very well, but he can get his mouth on it well. Yeah, Jonah can do it better than the little one, yeah. Yeah, I would have had him blow this year. Now we gotta be careful with kids and stuff, but yeah.
Interesting.
Cameron, I hear you did an awesome job Thursday and Friday. And I hear you're up on Friday.
I'm up with Friday, but today was really light on traffic. Traffic's my only worry later on in the week, since school is going on now, but that's why Melissa took Sam to the school, so I can just come straight here. So,
Okay.
I think our Fridays are such that she can do that usually.
That would be awesome if we do the high holiday
Yeah.
season the next couple of weeks, because that helps us tremendously. Just to be able to.
I know you guys are busy on Friday, so it's,
Yeah, Fridays are a crazy day, so it's about a 12 or 13-hour day. It used to be when I covered Friday mornings off every weekend. But by the time you start, I walk back in the house, set aside 20 minutes to
right.
30 minutes to get dinner going or whatever. I walk back in the house at 8 o'clock. So it's a 12-hour day. But that would be great, because Fridays are having its own feel coming into Shabbat. And I heard you did a beautiful job, which I'm not surprised, because I've been listening to you talk for a while, just from the view.
Yeah.
So thanks that's wonderful.
But last week for me, it's still different being there versus being there. So I've just got to get more comfortable.
Yeah, you just gotta keep practicing. It's just practice. Phil the same way. I know he just did it the one time, but
Yeah.
he does it a few more times, so he'll get louder and more comfortable. And there's a sheet in the black book that has the order. Yeah, I copied a couple, and if I need to make another one, I can, but I think it's in here. Yeah.
For the most part, I know what.
Yeah, I know you do. I mean, I do too. I would just put it in front of me in case I'm like, whoa, what am I doing?
Yeah.
It's happening. Oh yeah, no, it's 62. No, it's 59. It's all in the book anyway.
And the thing that threw me on Thursday was, at first I was thinking, well, it's for service. But the other thing is, there's one line in the cottage I don't know though. It's
Gabrielle,
exactly that.
that's the one everybody has a hard time with.
Yeah, I need to write that one out just in case I get up there one day and there's a menu. Which on Fridays right now, that's probably not an issue, but
No, seems like that's, I think for the next number of weeks, we're gonna have the same issues going on, just because it's, school getting going, COVID,
yeah.
holidays, people are gonna, I'm going on Wednesday and Thursday, I'm not gonna come on Friday,
Yesterday was a pleasant surprise.
Yeah,
There wasn't a big call out for it, but there were at least 13 in here. I didn't get a solid head count, but we had a good crowd.
Well, we had it always helps when you've got, it should be helpful now too, because we have Sunday school coming up now. For Sundays, we've got the choir is practicing. Probably didn't affect that, but there was, all the people were coming to pick up their mom's or their tickets. So if you get just one or two people from one of those,
Yeah.
you got it. So that's our challenge on the weekday is, how do we get that? But I think eventually we have to reassess and see where we're at. If you can see that if we're getting 8 to 9, if we concentrate on certain days of the week, we concentrate on Sunday, Tuesdays, and Thursdays or something, and we try, or whatever days we figure we need to do, we could probably get a good solid minyan those 3 or 4 days as opposed to struggle 5 of them or 6 of them. So that would be the key, I think, to me, is what we have to start thinking about how we want to do it, if we need to. Because it's frustrating. People want to. The other side of it is, in a small community, I'm used to this, and that's why I introduced the. Normally you don't do the Amida out loud, right? People would normally just, they'll just skip it and just do it silently. But whatever you do silently, you could certainly do out loud. And it used to be that way. Think about when there was no prayer book.
Yeah.
Everything was done out loud. Rita, which we recite it when we're by ourselves. We don't recite the Kedusha part, so there's nothing such we can't do it out loud together. That's why I've been doing it that way. I told Ben when I said, try to add that, because when there is no minyan, and you're not doing Torah service, and you're not doing all those things are missing, it feels very flat. And this at least we can be together, do those parts. Same thing with Kaddish. You're not doing the